Yeah, so I had gone to South Africa first. That was my first trip to Africa, to Cape Town. But I think when I went to Nigeria, it was a really, really deep experience for me. Yeah, I love the conversations that I would have there, and I also had to realize that especially I was working with a really young band. Some of them were still teenagers, and for some of them, they weren't even really familiar with how about the depth, how far deep and seated the slave trade was and what it produced. Like, it was like, oh yeah, okay, y'all was slaves, but really understanding what the transatlantic slave trade was and what it did, and that we are still the same people. We're connected because we came from here, but the process of breaking a whole people and having those conversations with, some of my younger, especially Nigerian friends, and having them really understand the magnitude of what that did, to generations and generations of people, and being able to show them the appreciation. Because again, when you travel as Americans, people just generally think like you're a douchebag because like people generally think Americans are assholes, and maybe most of the time they are. Like, they feel like Americans don't have respect for other people's cultures. And so when I go to another country, I make sure I learn a traditional song from their country. So like when I went to Nigeria, like, when we opened our show, I opened with Ishe Oluwa Kolebaje O. And they just lost it. Like, everybody turned around like, hold up. You know what I mean? Because it's important that you respecting the soil that you're on. It's like, I come to you humble. You know what I mean? Like, and just being able to have so many of those dope conversations, and I could see some of the similarities, but then also some of the differences of how being American has shaped me. Growing up in America has shaped certain parts of me. There was a friend who I met there, and she gave me a gift when I was leaving, and it was 2 bottles, empty bottles, right? And I couldn't understand like why she was giving me these 2 empty bottles, like dark brown empty bottles. And she was like, these are 2 bottles of rum. This might be equivalent for what one slave's life would be. It messed me up. I was good until that point. I was having an amazing time. And I still had an amazing time after that, but to think that, not only is your life just worth 2 bottles of rum, but like 400 years, and however many generations that would be of lives that were worth 2 bottles of rum was, and I don't even think, because she felt like she was giving me a nice token of my ancestry, and I was like, whoa, I can't even accept that. That hurts, And so we sat and had like a really great conversation, and really met Ida. She was Nigerian and Irish, and really like, just sharing perspectives and me really helping her to understand what that really meant, for me. And but it was a beautiful conversation, and I went back again, and we did a tour. We performed all throughout Nigeria, and the radio and TV, and just connected with so many other local artists there. Femi Kuti, I met Femi Kuti. We performed at the New African Shrine, Fela's Shrine, which was absolutely incredible. I got to record with him and just become family and friends with his family, with his sister. She taught me, I took dance class from his sister, She's like, you really American? You can dance like that? I was like, we can dance in America, okay? So it was a beautiful, beautiful experience, and it definitely deepened my appreciation, just for the connection to Africa. Yeah. The most concerning thing to me is a lack of humanity. I was just watching this thing on Instagram of this police officer like punching this 14-year-old girl in her stomach and beating her on the street. And when you scroll down to the comments, it's like, well, she shouldn't have resisted the arrest, or she shouldn't have had her hands on her stomach, and he was like grabbing her shorts and basically like, grabbing her butt, basically trying to like get a better hold so he could punch her harder. And like, no one mentioned like, oh my God, why is he beating this little girl? It can't be that serious. He said she was mouthing off in a mall. I feel like just the lack of humanity, where people are not outraged that children, brown children in particular, are treated as criminals off the back. And there's just no sympathy. There's no humanity. Like, you can't look at her and see your own child or see your own self. That's what's most concerning to me, is the loss of humanity and the taking for face value information. When someone tells you, you know, oh, it's okay that they died, they were a criminal anyway, that you say, oh, okay, cool. Nah, well, they did get shot, but I mean, you know, they didn't do well in school anyway. Oh, cool. Then their life wasn't worth anything. I mean, the people just, they don't even look into it themselves. Like, they don't even look past whatever the headline is to ask yourself, how do I really feel about that? Is that okay? Is it okay for it to happen on my watch? You know, me as a human, don't I have responsibility to another human? Because it can happen to me or to my child. Or at what point is it personal? At what point do you feel offended by someone's humanity being stripped from them? Like, why doesn't that bother you? That's what's most concerning to me. That more people are not bothered, like deeply bothered, when you see real injustice happen to a person that doesn't look like you. Why can't you feel their humanity just because they don't look like you? You know, that's concerning to me.